Hello everyone, Voodoo here. So at the start of the season, when we were going over the raid and what to play and stuff like that, we ended up saying that Aldrachi Reaver was probably going to be the play on more bosses than Fel Scarred, on, you know, like 5 of the 8, including the last 2. However, recently we've been seeing Fel Scarred pop up a lot more on the final 3 fights of this raid, which are generally the hard ones now, plus Araz, but you play Aldrachi on Araz no matter what. So let's break it down. I want to talk about why that's happening, talk about why Fel Scarred is doing a little bit better than we thought. So with that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Alpha is dropping next week, which is crazy, so we'll have content for that, of course. And with that, let's just get right on to it. All right, everybody, here we are. So, you know, Warcraft logs, right? What is happening with Fel Scarred? Now, first off, shout out to my boy Hawk DH, who is the #1 all-star right now, pioneer of Inertia. Now, one of the big deals that, like, why this build is better is because of the discovery of the Inertia tech. Now, we see that it isn't really, you know, at the top of these parses here yet, but Inertia is roughly actually, you know, 2% better than the mover builds, which I guess these builds are playing no mover. Doesn't really matter there. But what we're seeing is that Fel Scarred's single target, because of this Inertia pre-stack stuff, is actually a lot better than Aldrachi Reaver's, you know, was led to believe. And also things are dying faster with funnel, so there's actually less funnel available. So on the first 2 bosses here, I mean, like, this isn't changing. We already knew that Plexus and Lumathar were going to be great Fel Scarred bosses, and that is true. You see the odd, you know, Aldrachi Reaver up here because, you know, we can view more here just to show you the breakdown, but 99% Fel Scarred in the top 100. Going to Lumathar here, it should be similar, 97% Fel Scarred in the top 100. So, you know, not really any questions there. Soulbinder is an Aldrachi Reaver fight because of so many ads, 99% in the top 100. We scroll down here, you know, it's basically all Aldrachi Reaver because of how much you get to funnel on this fight. There's so many different moments where you can cleave off of ads that take extra damage. You can cleave off of ads that take like off of like 14-15 ads, so you have a lot of damage to the boss due to funnel. Actually, let me know where the one Fel Scarred guy is. There they are. Tesla DH, shout out to that person. There you go. However, after this, well, I guess Araz is also the same thing. Should be mostly Aldrachi Reaver. Actually, 100% Aldrachi Reaver, because again, you know, you get good cleave off the ads. I think, are people playing the Mythic Plus build? Oh, we did the thing where it froze. There we go. We actually 4% of people playing Mythic Plus build. Don't do that. I don't think that's worth it. But then we get into interesting stuff. Fractalus is also all, you know, Fel Scarred, which is, again, to be expected because it's a single target build. And then, finally, whoa, what did I do? We get to the interesting stuff. Let me just go back here. So, Soul Hunters. So, Soul Hunters, I would recommend, if you're progging it, to play Aldrachi Reaver. But we are seeing here 23% of people are actually playing Fel Scarred and doing well. Now, if you're playing the Fel Scarred build, you're generally going to play the Mythic Plus build. If you're playing the Aldrachi Reaver build, you're going to play the single target build. Now, pros and cons on this fight for Aldrachi Reaver versus Fel Scarred. I know Shad, I believe, did a Fel Scarred video recently, which has kind of started the, well, not started, but it kind of spread around the idea of playing it. The big thing for Aldrachi Reaver, if you're progging still, is that you can focus down the Vengeance Lady before she does her ultimate intermission there, which is actually really huge. And if you're playing Fel Scarred, you do a lot more even cleave, a lot more AoE damage, but overall they're honestly pretty close. So you can kind of just do whichever you want. I'm always like zoomed out. Just reset that. You can kind of do whatever you want. Like just play whichever one you're more comfortable with. Because as we see here, out of the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have like 3 Fel Scarred, 7 Aldrachi Reaver, which is like a pretty even split there on the top end. So it doesn't really matter as much in this fight, but there are pros and cons. Again, I think if you're progging, I would play Aldrachi Reaver just so you can funnel down the Fel Scarred woman. But sorry, not the Fel Scarred, the Vengeance woman. But if like you're not really having problems with it and you want to play a Fel Scarred, it definitely can do that high overall, just due to AoE. Now, in terms of the Mythic Plus build for Aldrachi Reaver, which I've seen some people suggest, and I'm gonna see if I can spot it anywhere here. Can't imagine anyone's playing it because I think it's worse. Yeah, I don't see any in the top 100. Unless I'm missing one. Oh, here we go. Number 9 parse. I wouldn't do this. The thing with Mythic Plus build is that Immolation Aura is so much better for Fel Scarred than it is for Aldrachi Reaver, that if you're going to play the Fel Scarred stuff, the Immolation Aura stuff, just swap to Fel Scarred. On Aldrachi Reaver, it deals so much less damage because you're only hitting 3 targets. Whereas for Fel Scarred, like, it makes sense to hit the 3 targets because you have stuff like Flamebound, you have stuff like the Immolation Aura reset talent, you have the tier set that gives 30% Immolation Aura damage. So makes a lot more sense there. But realistically, Fel Scarred or Aldrachi Reaver is very good in this fight. But I would rec Aldrachi Reaver for Prog, but both of them are good. And we'll see how things end up later on as kill times get shorter, because I think Fel Scarred will gain more for kill times getting shorter because of how much like meta burst you can do on pull and every 2 minutes basically. From there we go to Nexus King. The Nexus King I am currently progging. We are as of I mean, by the time this video was live, it's almost assuredly dead. We had a 0.6% wipe on Wednesday. It should be dead Thursday. Not a big deal. But you'll see here that 89% of people are playing Aldrachi Reaver, which means 11% are playing Fel Scarred. Now, what's the point for Fel Scarred over Aldrachi Reaver? Because we look here, we're seeing the first Fel Scarred person is 28th, and then we have one at like 31st, where everyone else here is playing Aldrachi Reaver. Now, the thing for Fel Scarred is that the reason why you'd want to play on this fight is for boss damage. Because on the platforms, you actually don't really need the funnel onto the Titans anymore. They kind of just blow up anyways. Whereas Fel Scarred has a lot more damage done to boss. We looked at damage to boss. Generally speaking, still can do good with Aldrachi Reaver. It'll depend a lot on the player. But we see a lot more Fel Scarred here, right? We see out of the top, I don't know, like 15 of them. I don't know what happened here. Well, ignore that then. Out of the top 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Half of them are Fel Scarred, which is a bigger deal when we look at overall damage, where only, you know, like 11% of parses are Fel Scarred. So we can extrapolate that out a bit, and we know that Fel Scarred damage to boss is better. As things shift on this fight, as where you want damage matter, like changes basically, I think Fel Scarred and Aldrachi Reaver will rise and fall. On right now, you don't really need damage on platforms as much, but damage to boss is very important. Damage in the intermission, final phase, damage in the damage amp phase are all very, very good, and I do believe that Fel Scarred is better there. But if you need damage on the platforms, Aldrachi Reaver is going to be your go-to. It also does very good on the intermission, on the two target bit there. Now, there is a bit of damage you can do with it by just kind of saving up glaives for the intermission, for the damage amp, sorry. But at that point, like, you're also just sacrificing damage on the platforms. I would say both are good. I would say Aldrachi Reaver probably is the better one overall. But you can certainly parse quite well, especially with Inertia. I really enjoyed the Inertia. Neither of these people are playing it. I really enjoyed the Inertia Fel Scarred version. I think it's actually done quite well for me in terms of like prog and stuff like that. I had some good damage things. Obviously we haven't killed yet, but whatever. Where I would honestly say that either one is good. It just depends on what you need for this fight. But yeah, I mean, I'd never expected Fel Scarred to do better in this like fight originally. But here we are, 11%, and it's way more boss damage. So as platforms die more and more, I could see Fel Scarred getting better and better. But there is also the inverse there, where, you know, as you like massively overkill the damage amp, because we still have, you know, scroll down here. What's our highest? Like 721 is probably our highest eye level, and that's Hawkerton, so it's a very good player. Shout out to the other Hawk. And you're going to go up to 730. Right, with turbo boost, like this person's gonna gain 15 eye levels still. You'll get better trinkets, and then you're also gonna gain, I think, 9% more, or 9% more damage amp from the passive stuff, plus whatever random junk they give us in 10.2.7, 11.2.7, which I guess they might not give us one because it's like midnight pre-patch almost at that point, but you never know, we might get one. Plus any more nerfs that come out. There is still probably the, you know, hey, Hall of Fame closing nerfs, plus also maybe the hey bads or late CE guilds have a nerf kind of thing. So I can see both happening here. Finally, we are going to go to Dementius, where this one, holy, we were wrong, 91.5% Fel Scarred. Now, I'll tell you the reason for this. The reason for this is that the Aldrachi Reaver funnel in the intermission is just not valuable. Fel Scarred is basically better at more hard parts of the fight. Fel Scarred's better in P1. It's better in P3, and it is very, very good in the damage amp, especially when you have an Araz Ritual Forge. Now, we see a lot of people also drop Antenna. I think that's correct. I think Antenna is kind of tough on this fight to get full value from. You get a lot of misses. I think Antenna on Saladar is fine, but Dementius, there's a lot more movement. especially in P3. You're moving a lot on the platforms, moving a lot in P1. That makes antenna kind of, you know, a lot harder to like fully use. But yeah, we're seeing most people here are playing Fel Scarred. Now the reason for that again is because you do a lot of damage in P1 because it's boss damage, right? As well as doing like pretty solid cleave with the ads. You are so much better in P3, and then you also have a ton of damage to the damage amp. Now the thing with this, I think a Hawk is playing Inertia. Is he? Let me check. Yeah, Hawk's playing Inertia because he's crazy, but everyone else here is playing No Mover, which is another big bonus for playing Fel Scarred because the No Mover build is actually quite good. And actually, they're going to fix Cycle. I'll make a video on it, but Cycle is being fixed next patch, the bug fix thing, unfortunately, but whatever. I do enjoy the Inertia build. But the No Mover build for Fel Scarred is so much better than the No Mover build for Aldrachi Reaver, which means that you actually don't have to flip a lot in that last phase where things get really crazy and hectic and tight. Which is also another big bonus for Fel Scarred, so it can do more of its damage like more easily, basically. And then you also have really good burst for platforms because you can drop a meta on one of the platforms. Now, again, at this point in the season, platforms aren't really that big of a deal. Like yeah, you need them to die, and they do die, but like we have so much damage at this point that things are kind of getting overkilled a bit. And again, like the highest person here is Hawk going to get 721, which means that by the end of the season, 2 weeks from now, when that turbo boost comes out, he'll have 9 more eye level to gain, and then he also will eventually get 9% more damage just for passively. So eventually, like, we're gonna be killing Dementius, and he's going to hit like 33% HP after the damage amp. And the more phases at the end of the fight that you can skip, because P3 is by far the hardest phase, I believe. All phases are hard in Dementius, but P3 is like turbo nuclear. Fel Scarred will get better and better. It's basically just like boss damage has gotten better and better and more valuable. So Fel Scarred is seeing more and more play. Now, will this change as things go on? Who knows? But as ads die quicker, like the funnel for Aldrachi Reaver gets less valuable, so to speak. But we'll see. I think Saladar, I think, is the most interesting one to look at, because you can definitely watch that one. I think that's the one where both Fel Scarred and Aldrachi Reaver have value, and they both will remain to have that value. And we'll see how parses go on reclear, how much like ads live, stuff like that, just in terms of like Aldrachi Reaver versus Fel Scarred, because I do think both are good there. But everywhere else, I mean, like, pretty interesting that Fel Scarred's done so much better. But that is basically gonna be the video for today. I just wanted to yap a bit about Fel Scarred versus Aldrachi Reaver. Monday, I might yap about the Devourer talent tree, because we sort of have it. I might cook on it. I don't know. We'll see. And then next week, we're in Alpha. So, I mean, expect a lot of Alpha coverage. I don't know how... I don't quite know the split yet for live versus Alpha, but expect a lot of that. I'm very looking forward to it. Devourer looks like it's gonna be sick. Hopefully Havoc has some cool changes to it too. Maybe we'll even touch on Vengeance for once, who knows, or like other specs I enjoy. I enjoy Devourer, Devastation, Survival Hunter, maybe some other specs, who knows. But yeah, appreciate y'all. See you guys next time. Follow me on Twitch. I don't know if I'll be live this weekend, but I'll be live in the future doing prog and keys and alpha stuff. So link in the description. My Discord is also in the description. You can join there. And yeah, appreciate y'all. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you to Correlated. Thank you to Alexander Trifunovich, Fear Redefined, Loose Change, R Palms 46, Basu Terceros, Zuligan, Dupe, Spaghetti, Gabriel Correa, Magic Man 133, and Felfadaren Dark Terror. Thank you all so much. Thank you to everyone who watches the videos, but especially to those of you who are supporting the channel. Helps me make content, of course. If you want to support the channel, get your name shouted out at the end of the video. Consider becoming a channel member down below. There'll be more perks coming soon-ish for channel members. Trying to work on that a little. And again, thank you to everybody. Also, go follow me on Twitch, stuff like that. And y'all are awesome. See you guys next time. Peace.